I represent the Depopulation Crisis of Armenia report research team. We published a report which in the beginning we asked the question to ourselves that during the past 20 years in Armenia the population reduced by almost 20%, and that's the official number. Why is it that? And there are sources, unofficial sources of information which claim that number is much more. And the most recent source of information is an interview given by Professor Maxim Manasyan from Armenia 2 weeks ago, who claims that the population of Armenia declined by 1.5 million people during the past 20 years. In the next slide, here are the 4 think tanks that did this research in Armenia. They are independent from each other. They didn't work together. They include 2 universities and 2 think tanks. These 2 universities did research, studies, focus group discussions, independent from each other. And later we compared the findings with each other to find common patterns, common trends, because there is no official source of information which clearly shows what the number of people that leave Armenia. And the report was first presented on October 8, 2013 in Yerevan at a conference jointly organized with the United Nations Population Fund in Armenia. And later, in early 2014, 3 people from our group went on a speaking tour to these cities, Beirut, Paris, Toronto, New York, and Los Angeles, to present the findings of our research, the depopulation crisis of Armenia. This speaking tour shows that how interested the diaspora is in Armenia's future and the challenges Armenia is facing now. Today, this room shows the same. Briefly, we show here the main reasons according to respondents behind their decisions to emigrate, because the decision to emigrate is not conditioned by financial reasons only. There are non-financial reasons, and among them are corruption, lack of proper access to the judiciary system. Either we spoke about the judiciary system and improvements. However, there is a huge institutional gap coming from the Soviet Union. That gap starts from the pre-investigation bodies, which means that pre-investigation bodies are allowed to accuse a suspect before he goes to the court. That means that from the very beginning of court proceedings, everything is decided already through all instances of the judiciary system. However, we are still optimistic that we will have positive development in Armenia. Freedom of corruption, and also we have a big deal with protection of property rights. We have 100 good stories about investment in Armenia which were successful. However, one negative example is a precedent that will stop many people from coming and investing in Armenia. I believe that the benefit, if that person would gain, would be 100 times less than if he didn't do that and Armenia would gain. The items in the previous slides are all interconnected, and corruption, it's systematic, it's a system. It's not by one item, it's all interconnected. And as a result of that, people lose their hope. Here we have also made pie charts to show the intention to emigrate among returned migrants. Because it shows that most of the returned migrants, almost 70%, want to re-emigrate, which means that, in fact, it is not the factors that attract people from other countries, but factors that force them out from their own countries. And these are mostly young people. In the next slide, we have shown 2 main trends and recent trends that are very worrisome. The first one is that there is a growing trend among young people to emigrate, and these are people that are well established. These are people that earned good income in Armenia. These are people with children, and they mostly seek long-term emigration with permanent residency prospects. This means that their children will grow in other countries, and there is a very little chance that they may come back. The next trend that is again worrisome is that in parallel with the growth of their income, their intentions and plans to emigrate is growing as well. Logically, it should be the vice versa. Now, the more money people make, the more they think about settling in other countries. So it's a complex of issues that drives people out of Armenia. In the next slide, we have shown institutional gaps where we need to focus our attention and efforts, both from diaspora and from within Armenia. And in terms, I'll focus only here on institutionalized civic activism and opposition. And in all our speaking tours, we have stressed the importance of having non-violent institutionalized opposition that would build institutions in Armenia. And today's conference is a major step toward that, and Armenian Renaissance has been making very progressive steps during the past years, I would say, in Armenia. Now going back to Gyumri, I made these shots almost 1 month ago. If we reduce the lighting a little bit, 1 month ago I was in Armenia and visited Gyumri. I visited the makeshift area where people live in conditions like that. These two photos I made on the same day, and I made myself with my mobile phone. On the right side, you will see this child which doesn't have elementary conditions for life. They don't have water to wash his face, they don't have food. And what I saw there reminds me of the pictures from the genocide times. Malnutrition, no washroom, no food, nothing to eat, and they live in a half-collapsed building. I will show you later. And on the same way back, when what I saw there was still in my throat, I took a shoot of this car. By the way, this child, when I was making photos of him, I said, "Can you show me your toy?" just to grab his attention. His mother said he has no toys. And when I came back to Yerevan the same day, I saw a 20-year-old boy driving this toy, and I Googled this Lamborghini Aventador. The price is $1 million, and the best one for used one you can find is $500,000. Actually, this car could buy 100 homes for homeless people in Gyumri. In the next picture, we will see the conditions these people live in, and that is a quarter century after the earthquake. More than 25 years, these people still hope. And the building on the right side, it's not abandoned building. 15, 20 families live there, including the child you saw in the previous slide. It's a little bit shame to say this, but they don't have washroom. The window on this side, right after the collapse part, is their washroom, that room. They go there. And in the other rooms, they live. And in one room, they live 5 children, 6 children. And the latest, most recent news I have from there is that from an NGO, local NGO, that 5 children from the same family that live in the same room were taken to hospital with skin disease. Right behind the fence from this building, you could see a luxury house, and on that day they were making barbecues, and these people were hungry. Here in this metallic makeshift, it is rusted out, and to be honest, I don't imagine how these people live there in the cold winter, which is as severe as Canadian winters, and in summer heat. There is a mother with a small child and with a grandmother. They don't have a window. And there are 4,300 families like this. And in the end of the day, after doing our presentation and showing, illustrating these pictures and the situation in Armenia, we came up with equations. Okay, what can be done? What is next? The Cololian Foundation. And one of the conclusions, in the next slide, we have next steps we are planning to do with the Cololian Foundation. One of the conclusions we came to is that population of Armenia needs is hope. They lose their hope. Even people are well established and make money in the country. They seek greener shores. And being one of them, when they ask me, why did you immigrate to Canada? I say, for my child. But it's another question whether my child will feel happier with her grandmother, grandfather, or here. So nobody has the answer to that. And the answer is that we don't have hope. And for this purpose, we want to turn the Depop efforts to a positive project that will have concrete results, measurable results, and will give hope to people. And hence, we will start from Gyumri. Now we are looking into starting this Gyumri project, and what we seek is that to make the Depop tour that mobilize so many diasporans, active diasporans that really care about Armenia, to turn into positive efforts and help in some way. through a positive project and also development project, and also mobilizing in developing institutions and building constructive opposition. And for this reason, we need holistic approach, which will include different levels, efforts at different levels, which will be measurable and which will involve many parties, such as international aid organizations, the government, different diaspora organizations, anyone who is concerned about Armenia's future and the future of that people. By the way, the poverty rate in Gyumri is the highest, despite the fact that millions of dollars have gone to Gyumri. It is 47.47, almost 50% poverty in Gyumri. We have started high-level discussions with the Armenian government and hope to announce something by the beginning of September. We have created a website where we update information. In the news section, we monitor and post any publications about the depopulation issue, about the demographic crisis, and about the immigration issue from Armenia. These can be reports of international organizations, these can be media publications from Armenia, and our own publications and publications of our partner organizations. And I would like to conclude my word by quoting Vazgen Serpazan, the Armenian Catholicos, to go back to the question, what can the diaspora do? He said, on the top of the 7 mortal sins, one more sin should be added, and that sin is indifference. What we can do today is not to be indifferent and be engaged. Thank you.